disagree on everything, it seems like. They're disagreeing on vaccines, masks, where spending should go, public schools, charter schools, and I'm not even saying a stance, but our political system is very divisive right now, probably at the height of everything. But this is the issue that everybody's aligned on? What about this issue has aligned everybody when we're still in such a state of division amongst the general public,
right,
and confusion amongst the general public? Mm-hmm. Why is this the issue that's bringing politicians together?
Because this is about the extension of American power in the world, and whether you're now Trump himself, of course, has said that he admires Putin. In other words, he's not supporting Joe Biden, but much of his allies support NATO in the Ukraine and the use of these Nazis and so forth. Congress, by the way, does have a ban on funding the Azov battalion and Ukrainian Nazis, but the administration is ignoring it. George Washington University just released a 112-page study documenting how these Ukrainian Nazis are embedded in the Ukrainian military in such a way as that nobody can detect them, so that they get the training that the United States wants to give them.
And then this is the other
112-page study.
Yeah,
and they really went into it, and it's clear that the U.S. is doing this. One thing I think I've been a little neglectful on, Khary, is I want to also tell people, in terms of this, the whole dishonesty and power grab of this whole thing. In the late 1980s, when Gorbachev was premier of the end of the Soviet Union, the Reagan administration said, look, we would like East Germany and West Germany, which had been divided since World War II, right? East Germany being under the control of the Soviets, and we would like to bring them back together. Do you object? He said, as long as you agree to not move NATO any closer to the Russian borders than they already are, I will support it. And they said, deal. And, and the Reagan administration kept their word on that, and they began the process of reunifying Germany. And George Bush, when he became president afterwards for one term, he did too. But when Bill Clinton came in, he says, I don't care what they agreed on. He said, I'm going to do what I want to do, and he started moving NATO east. And then afterwards, NATO moved up, and they put NATO now right on the border of Russia, going up from the Scandinavian countries and the Baltic Sea all the way down to the Black Sea. And now the U.S. has put massive missile bases, and apparently there's 2 missile silos, which means larger scale missiles, one in Romania and one in Poland. They've got these missile batteries that can fire cruise missiles and all sorts of things. Those go 1,000 miles. They can hit most of Russian cities, And they've put all this huge military emplacement, troop formations, and Biden just moved more troops there. But he said, well, we're not going to put them into Ukraine. American troops won't be fighting in there, but they can be shooting missiles. They can be running aircraft. They can be shooting from naval artillery or naval aircraft and still participate in some way or other. But, he acts like they're going to be there for humanitarian. You don't need the 82nd Airborne Division for humanitarian work, There's going to be something going on there. And so the United States repeatedly broke. And so when Putin has been saying, look, we want to guarantee that Ukraine will not become NATO, because once a country is NATO, all the other NATO countries are treaty bound to use its military to support that country if it's invaded. So once they're in NATO, the United States is saying, we will send our army in to protect your country.
Yeah.
And that's a pretext for U.S. setting up bases, and then the United States takes control of the Ukrainian military.